All right, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac podcast here on 1010XL's podcast platform at 1010XL.com. Of course, we're live on Facebook and my page and 1010XL's. We're also on the 1010XL app. Make sure you download the app. Get all the great content that comes right out of this room and all throughout this building with many, many podcasts, whether it's this one, other Jag shows, other Gators, Seminoles, high school, what have you. We got you covered when it comes to sports around these parts, and always happy to be a part of the team. Today's show brought to you by my team as well, Team Tommy Mac. Chris Lucero's bail bonds. If you get thrown in the clink, he gets you out in a blink. Yeah, I know it's catchy. Truck Accident Law Firm, the number one truck crash team in the market. J-Dog Junk Removal. They'll come pick it up, man, and they take care of it. Veteran-owned and operated. Azar Sausage had John Azar on the horse's mouth yesterday. They're local, third generation, best sausage you'll ever have. Make sure you check them out in your local grocer. Carpet Man Flooring, LVP. It's not just LVP. It's everything you can consider putting on your floor at the highest quality and lowest prices. The Graffiti Burger Bar, which hosted last night's Tommy Mac's Happy Hour. And new to the program, Outback Marine Construction. Very happy to have them on board. Of course, Outback is local as well. I love representing local businesses. And of course, we're here in the 1010XL studios. All right, we paid some bills, and I got to say thank you to the people at 1010XL for this brand new gift. Look at this beautiful hoodie. And it fits. I'm so jacked up. I needed a hoodie. I didn't know it was coming. And the GM, Steve Griffin, came in during a break while I was on Jaguars today. And it was like, well, it wasn't like Mean Joe Green throwing the kid the jersey, but it was kind of nice. He tossed it to me. You got one on too, Grammage. How you doing, brother?
Yes, sir. We got matching hoodies on today.
Yeah, we do. We do. Nice to see you. How you doing?
Oh, not bad. Not bad. It's Friday.
Overall?
Oh, yeah. Besides not seeing the sun for about a week.
Yeah, no doubt. Man. It was wet.
It was not a Jacksonville, Florida weather kind of week. Man.
No, but I think it's going to be better tonight and tomorrow.
Because we're used to. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good, man.
But I was just going to say we're used to here
sunshine,
and we're used to when it does rain. It comes and it pours for about an hour, and then you get sunshine again.
Later, right?
We're not used to this dreary,
right?
Misty kind of thing.
But the difference is when those hour-long showers happen, right after the heat goes kaboom.
Oh yeah, the humidity is unbelievable.
No doubt about that. But yeah, man, I've had a great week. We had Jimmy Smith in on Tuesday. Well, first we had the alumni weekend. Jimmy Smith on Tuesday. He was fun, man. What a great interview. Just talking to my friend and former teammate. And then the horse's mouth was awesome. We had a blast. Dave Campo came back. He comes back every week. Jerry Sullivan, the longtime wide receivers coach. He still trains Justin Jefferson.
Really?
Yeah. And he was at LSU with Burrow, Chase, and Jefferson.
Wow.
Coaching the receivers. So that was really cool. You'll check that out. And of course, we have all the business people. Last night, Tommy Mac's Happy Hour, Kyle Brady, Lonnie Marks, my Hollywood actor friend Kevin Porter. We had an absolute ball, man. We gave away a couple tickets. Let me just say this. We gave really easy trivia to just get a raffle ticket. That's how we did it. Brackish Vodka, thank you for supplying the tickets. Section 210, by the way, so nice tickets. And the trivia was so easy, and I got to say, a couple people, they didn't get it. Now, I gave everyone a ticket. I'm not going to not, I figured, I found a question that they could answer. But let me give you an example. Guy comes up, nice guy, I forget his name, older guy. And I'm like, all right, you a football fan? Yeah, I'm a football fan. Okay, great. Said, okay, who's the leading rusher in Jaguar history? Blank stare. I mean, blank. Like, no idea. And we're like, okay. And then Kyle's like, he wears number 28. Blank stare. I mean,
what?
And I'm just looking at him like, you don't know any Jaguars? Like, what do you? And I finally, I let him off the hook. I go, who's the quarterback for the Jags? He goes, Lawrence. I said, all right, you got a ticket. Like, get out. It was unbelievable. In the Jacksonville.
How do you know Freddie T, man?
How do you know Freddie T? I could see if you went with MJD, although Freddie T's obviously higher. But, MJD had a great career here and ran for a lot of yards.
Didn't MJD pass Fred for touchdowns?
I don't know that.
I think he might have.
Yeah, he was great. Oh, MJD was great.
MJD was he scored because remember Fred
was such a beast,
and remember Fred has complained about this with it's kind of tongue in cheek now, but
right
he complained about this with Coach Coughlin.
Yeah, because he would take him out.
That he'd take him out and rob them of a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, he did that with Stacey Mack too back in the late '90s. Stacey was a big back, and he'd put him in there for short yardage and goal line a lot.
And MJD got a lot of those carries. I might be wrong, but I think MJD passed him in touchdowns.
Okay.
But yards, Fred. I don't know if anyone will ever pass Fred in yards in Jags history.
1-2 punch they were. No doubt about it. All right, our Jags taking on the Tennessee Titans. Jags at 6-3. We are at 3-6. We'll talk about the game, of course. I've got the stats. And we'll also take a look around the National Football League. Some really interesting games, I think, and a rematch of last year's Super Bowl for Monday Night Football. Right before Thanksgiving. Come on, it don't get more festive than that. You know what I mean? Like, whether they're your team or not, that's going to be a fun-ass game to watch. I got Philly winning that one. Who do you think's going to win, Philly, KC?
I got Philly, too.
Yeah, I think Philly.
Is it in Philly?
It's in Philly.
I thought it was
in KC.
It's in KC?
Sorry. Yeah.
I still like Philly.
Yeah,
I think
KC's been weird. You know, the offense is weird.
Yeah.
I honestly, and I'm not saying, I think Taylor Swift's in their head. And I'm not trying to make a joke. You know, Kelsey goes down to wherever, Guatemala, wherever the heck he went, South America during the bye week. I mean, he's worried about her and the spot. You know what I mean? I think it trickles down. They're in a funk. Now, granted, Denver's playing some outstanding football. So Denver beat them, 2 weeks ago? Yeah. Denver's defense has been really good after the debacle that Miami put up 70 on them, whatever that was. Since then, they've done a pretty good job. And Russell Wilson, I know I gave him a lot of grief last year, and deservedly so, but he's back to playing good ball. He's playing some decent football. He's better than decent. He's playing some pretty darn good football.
He started using his legs more.
Yeah.
And it's just made him a better football player, man.
I think it is that too, Graham, and he lost a little weight. But I do think I got to commend Sean Payton because he trimmed the fat on that kid. I'm not talking about the weight on his body. Get rid of the coaches. Get rid of all this stuff. Don't bring it in here.
This extra crap.
This is just us, and we're going to make it work. And you know what? We'll see how they finish, but they're on a little bit of a run. I've got them winning Minnesota. Yeah, I got Minnesota. I got Denver at home against Minnesota, so that'll be interesting. But look,
is that Sunday night? That's Sunday night, isn't it?
Sunday night.
I believe so.
Yes,
yeah,
it is Sunday night. Mm-hmm. Yeah, another festive moment. I always find like November, they're just festive because the holidays are here and Sunday night, Monday night. You know, you got to go to work, but it's still a holiday season. So, nonetheless, we'll look forward to it all. All right, listen, this is a bounce back game. It has to be. And I just got off the air saying like if I'm Doug Peters, right? If I'm this staff, Mike Caldwell, if I'm position coaches, what have you. Look, this is the game where you got to redeem yourself from the shellacking you just took. You got embarrassed. Now, you may not use those words. I'll use them. But you got embarrassed. You got thrown around. You got pushed around. You got knocked in the face. You did not respond. It was terrible. You almost had things going before the Kirk fumble, but then it all blew up, and it was all over after that. I'm not going to go back on that game, but I am going to go forward to this game because as athletes, that's when you get beat like that, and we all have. We're talking with Lonnie and Kyle last night at the happy hour show, and every one of us got killed in a game. 98, we went up to Minnesota and lost 50-10. 95, we went to Detroit and lost 44-0 or 44-3 or whatever it was. I mean, I know what it's like to get your ass kicked as a team. I know what it's like to have a terrible game. I know what it's like to be out physical. But what does that mean? That means the next time out, hell no. No, I'm redeeming myself. I'm going to prove that was not me and this is me. And I'm telling you, Grammage, they better do it as a team. Because if you don't beat Tennessee, I don't think you beat Houston. And you may have a problem with Baltimore. I know they lost Andrews, but they still got a team. I'm sorry. That's how important this game is. You got to beat Tennessee. And I don't care about the history. I don't care about 99. It's got nothing to do with that. Even last year, I don't care about. It's about redeeming yourself. Because here's my big problem with it, is when you get beat by San Fran, all this talk the whole time, prior to the game, you're a contender. You're a contender. You're one of the top teams in the AFC. You're a 2 seed right now. You're a 3 seed right now. And then San Fran comes in, who's on a 3-game skid, but they're still considered a contender to be in the NFC Championship game. And you lay an egg. And I'm sitting there going, well, then we're not contenders because the whole offseason, preseason, leading up to this, I'm feeling we're a contender. I still feel we are going to be a contender, but you got to prove it against Tennessee. That, to me, is the psyche of this game. It's not how many yards, points, whatever. It's about the fact that you go out there and you show that you're a physical MF team. You know what I mean? You're physical from the get-go. That last week, I don't know. Maybe we came off the bye week and we didn't think it was going to be that physical. Who knows? Who cares? But you redeem yourself, and that's what's great about football during the season because you get another opportunity to change it in a week. Right? Now, you only have so many of those that you can have, but this is a game that you must win, in my opinion.
I agree. They need to win. Look, there's no style points in the NFL in terms of standings and everything. But it would behoove the Jaguars to get some style points in this game. Yeah, it's not just that you need to win. I think you need, because Tennessee's not very good. They're reeling. They've had a tough season. Their offensive line cannot protect Will Levis, who looks like a promising young quarterback, but they can't protect him. Their defense has struggled. I think you need to not just win. You need to kick their ass. Yep. It needs to be halftime, and there's no question who's going to win the game.
I agree with that. But here, look, it's still the NFL. Their offense hasn't been good. Their defense is really good against the run, but they give up a lot against the pass. But we haven't really been doing well with the pass, at least as of late. So, look, their defensive front is very good. Justin Simmons, one of the best defensive tackles in the game. Harold Landry, BC guy, he's back. They've got Danico Avery, who I don't really know, but he's got 6 sacks.
Autry.
Another defense. Autry. Sorry. Yeah, I know Autry. Yeah, of course. I'm sorry. I had that name wrong. He's got 6 sacks himself. So this is no pushover defensive front. I expect our offense to play better. But to Gramage's point, flip it around. Their offensive line sucks. They've given up 33 sacks, and they're injured. They got 2 guys that are listed as starters that are questionable going into this game. So we should dominate, and that's what I'm talking about. And that's what you're talking about. You call it style points. I'll talk it just pure domination, man. And I know they're grown-ass men, and I know they're NFL players too, and it's hard to dominate guys that are the same as you athletically, right? Big, strong, fast, all that stuff. It's hard to do that, but it's more than that. It's about your will. I saw San Fran on that tunnel. They were foaming at the mouth to come at you. They couldn't wait. They were like a bunch of freaking Draculas coming in on Halloween looking for their next prey. They wanted to prove a point. That's what I want to see out of the Jaguars because I didn't see that last week. And they're capable of doing it. They've got the dogs in that room to do that. They should never come out not physical. I know we're a pass first. I know what we're doing, but you know what? You still can be very physical. And by the way, we were physical. Our defense has played physical prior to San Fran. Got to come back. Look, D-Hop can hurt you if you let him. Don't let him. Henry can hurt you if you let him. Get to him before he gets to you. Will Levis is a young quarterback. Guess what, though? He can throw 4 touchdowns a game, and he also can throw a pick or 2 a game as well. So you got to make sure you get to him. Smother that young man like we did in the past with other quarterbacks that we've watched. They see ghosts. I know nobody wants to hear it, but Trevor saw ghosts last week. He was seeing phantom pressure. He could hear the stampede coming, man, and in his defense, it messes with you. You know, let's go back to what Arden Key just said. The same thing Joey Bosa said about, hey, take away their first read and you got a chance. What they're saying is, as pass rushers, yeah, if that first read is covered, I'm going to get to him because their O-line can't protect him. That wasn't a knock on Trevor that he can't go to number 2. He knows how to go to number 2, no problem. But when he goes to number 2 and he gets whacked in the head when he turns around or in the wherever, no, he's going to get rattled. Right? So, but with all that being said, one of my keys to victory on the radio was Trevor. He didn't take off once last week, Grammage. Remember Saints, right? Remember who'd they play after the Saints? They had the Saints on Thursday night. Steelers, right? Remember he had a run in the Steelers. That run, that it clicked. It just, and he did none of that last week. It was befuddling to me. He didn't have a huge amount of opportunities to take off and run, but he had a handful. That he would have got 7 or 10 or who knows. He's got to do that. He's got to get back into that. That's a weapon, and it gets him into the flow of the game. Look, I think here's a big problem with it, again, with what happened, is we're expecting fireworks from this offense, right? Think about all preseason, Grammage. How many yards, touchdowns, Ridley, Ingram. Look how fast they all are, and they are. But guess what? You get into a game, Ridley gets jammed at the line of scrimmage, can't get off on time, right? They're only doing certain routes with him. They have yet to click, is my point. They have yet to click. You know, Ingram doesn't even have a touchdown. He doesn't have a touchdown yet. They need more of him. I want to see more Dearness Johnson. That guy deserves carries, man, or screens or whatever. I don't care. Get him the ball. He's a nice 1-2 punch. Hey, Tank, I've got nothing against Tank Bigsby, but I'm moving Johnson to number 2. He's my number 2 if I'm the coach. Now, granted, he's a high draft pick, Bigsby, in a rookie year, and you don't want to do that. But at the same time, Dearness Johnson gives you something that Tank Bigsby doesn't have. And that's just being aware of getting through the line of scrimmage, having enough juice and enough power to get it done. So
at the same time, you're in the middle of a run, and Tank Bigsby's hurting your cause right now.
Yeah,
and that doesn't mean that doesn't mean he's going to suck. That doesn't mean he's a bust. No. That doesn't mean you got to give up on him.
Listen, I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish.
I just think that means that for at least the next couple of weeks, you got to let Dearness be RB2. He's earned that, and you got to let Tank
right. But here, just
let him breathe for a minute.
This is what happens. So this is where the political side comes in. Because I'm sitting there going, man, he looks good. Let's go. Let's get him going. Let's get him going. Let's go and going. And then it almost felt like they forced Tank in because he's a high draft pick and he's a rookie and we're not ready. We don't. And part of that's I don't want him to lose confidence. You know, he sees Dearness doing well and he's not. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't care about that right now. I'd care about the momentum. I care about moving the ball and having that guy help you along with ETN. But at the end of the day, the offensive line's got to play better. They got to make some holes, man. They're not. The timing is off. The timing is off. And when you're a zone blocking scheme, which a lot of times they are, you got to move as well. It's got to be, it's timing. That timing with the throwing the football. You know, 1, 2, 3, boom, shotgun, take a step back, throw it. The guy's got to be there. I heard an interesting point from Jerry Sullivan, the wide receiver coach, yesterday on the Horse's Mouth. I asked him, I said, what do you do to your receivers that have drops? What do you do? How do you fix it? Are you in the jug machine? Are you focusing on the, you know, they say the spin, the point of the ball, you know, look it into your hand. What are you doing? He goes, no, I'm working on everything prior to the catch. I said, really? He's like, yeah, getting off the damn jam, getting up into my route vertically, making the cut at the right time, and being at the right spot at the right time that the quarterback's expecting me to be. And if I do that, I'll see that ball coming in a lot clearer. I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. He's like, think about it. If I get to the route quicker, if I get to where if I get to the spot where I'm supposed to be at the time I'm supposed to be, it's all predicated on timing, then I should be having a longer time to see that ball come in. Makes sense to me. Now, granted, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter when it comes in. Your job's to catch the ball. So if you turn your head, it's on you. It's freaking hands up, right? So you can catch the rock. There's no excuse for that. Another thing, too, no more fumbles. I'm sick and tired of the fumbles. Man, the fumbles, 19 fumbles.
That goes for everybody, man.
I know.
They've been spreading the wealth of fumbles, bro.
19 fumbles, we've lost 11.
It's one thing, and it's almost easier to digest it as a fan, and it's easier to digest the frustration if it's like one guy. But man, Trevor's had a fumbling problem. Yep. Christian Kirk has had a fumbling problem. Yep. Jamal Agnew laid one on the ground. I think it was earlier in the season, but Tank Bigsby's had a fumbling problem. Yep. I mean, dude, at some point,
ETN fumbled once, I think.
Man,
maybe.
I mean, you're talking about multiple guys that you're counting on to make plays. I mean, we talked about this on Tuesday. Christian Kirk's fumble killed any shot of making that game interesting on Sunday.
Yep.
And late in the third quarter, you're moving the ball.
That killed the momentum.
You're moving the ball. Totally looks like you're going to punch the ball into the end zone.
Right.
Christian Kirk gets a nice gain, 4 or 5 yards. He'd been your main receiver all the way down the field. He had a good game besides the fumble.
He did. Great game.
Crushing. That was the play where it's like, all right, now they're going to get killed.
Well, it was that and then the fact that we couldn't stop them on the drive.
For sure.
Now, if we went 3 and out there and got the ball back and maybe get that momentum again, we're talking different. But whatever. And look, we all want to make a play, right? You want to make a play. Quarterback thinking that I could just step out a little bit. Let me just get out here and I can, or a wide receiver, like catching the rock, turning, wants to make yak, wants to beat a tackle. Well, guess what they do today? And they did it when we were playing, but now it's even more adamant. They're punching the ball out. They're focusing on the football. They're looking to hit you, not even in the body. It's almost like aim for the football because it'll come out. And look, Christian Kirk was just trying to make a play. He was trying to make a touchdown. I get it, but secure the ball. There's no excuses for fumbles. And that's not a coaching problem. It's not a play calling problem. It's nothing other than a player problem to make sure you secure that football at all costs, because that's been killing us. No doubt about that. Trevor, to me, has got to get back to Trevor ball. He's also got to give his receivers a chance to make a play. When they're covered one-on-one, I'm not talking about overhelp. I'm not talking about throwing into double and triple coverage. I'm talking about when my receiver's going down the field and a guy is on his hip and there's no safety over the top. Let it rip, kid. Let it rip. Put it on him. Put him in the best spot. If it's down the sideline, it's high on outside. If it's over the middle on the dig, it's right there, right? I'm coming across, and you're leading me. It's perfect spot, perfect, throw and that type of thing. That's what Trevor has to do. He's got to get back into that kind of confidence and that kind of style play. Part of it is play calling. It is. And now that I think they figured us out a little bit, because now you got two defensive players from two different teams saying the same thing. So that's going through the league. This is how you beat Trevor. This is how you beat the Jaguars offense. It's a copycat league. Everybody's going to do it. But I threw this out there on Jaguars today. Remember the playoff game against San Diego, or the Chargers? What did they do? The Chargers defense do the first half. They sat on. They
just sat on short routes.
On those first reads.
The underneaths, the hitches.
Right.
Those short routes Trevor likes, they just sat there.
Right.
And zone.
What it turned into interceptions, turnovers, and a 28-0 lead or 27-0 lead, whatever it was, right? What'd they do in the second half? They didn't do that because they came back. So go back to that. Watch that tape and figure out how you can get to that, because every team's going to do this to you now. They're going to, and by the way, nobody's scared of ETN as a running back, and I love ETN, but nobody's scared of our running attack. We average 3.9 yards a carry. ETN's at 3.9. That's maybe average. It's not that good. You need 4.3, 4.4. You know what I mean? To be a really, really good running back, 3.9 ain't cutting it.
Last year he averaged like 5 something, didn't he?
He did. He was phenomenal last year.
So I'm glad you brought up the Chargers game, because I think there's a parallel to draw here. The main thing I noticed in that Chargers game when things started to click for this offense, the things that really changed, was they started, instead of going those shallow underneath routes like that Ingram crosser they love to hit, the hitches, that type of thing that the Chargers were sitting on, the first thing they started doing was they started like screen game. Started really working for them, because the Chargers DBs were sitting back.
Right.
You had 5-6 yards of space to take advantage of.
Get a blocker in front.
Started doing that. That started moving the ball. And then Chargers DBs getting a little more aggressive, coming up. Zay Jones shot, 50-yard touchdown. Right. I believe, and in the Niners game, again, Kirk's fumble killed him. But one of the first drives of their offense started having some success. Dearness Johnson's screen game. I want to say Kirk had a screen catch or something like that. It was a lot of horizontal.
And really had a nice slant that got a 10-yard first down. I want to see more of that from him. Like that. What do you think out of Ridley? Down the sideline and deep. We need him to break it off and throw them off that game a little bit.
And something else that I think you and I have talked about this, and it's been kind of a talking point, and a lot of the counter argument to saying that the Jags need to go downfield more. The counter argument usually is, well, you got to have time to do that, and the offensive line isn't protecting well enough. That's true, but you don't.
you don't need all day.
You don't need a lot of time to throw a go ball.
No,
a go ball is one of the quickest throws to make in football.
Right.
And again, even if it's incomplete, the defense has to be scared that you will go over the top. Otherwise, it's going to be Chargers first half. They're going to sit on everything short, and you're going to have no space to do anything.
I think they got it, and they probably are. They're a lot smarter than I am. But you got to think, like, if you're feeling like they're sitting, it's an automatic double move for my guys. And Trevor and him are on the same page. They know it. They don't even have to say it to each other, because they're going to do it so much in practice that they know when, hey, by the way, this guy's sitting, right? I just ran this route, right? Let's run the same route, but a double move, and I will get him. The safety won't be over. You know what I mean? That's how you, and that doesn't take a lot of time. Look, it does take time to get the ball, look at your one, he's not there. I got to look at my two, and then I'm getting hit. Or there's people around me, and I can't really see my. That's a valid thing, and it's hard to take the shot when that happens. But the double moves can help. The one thing that now look, for the record, Trevor did have moments where he had a lot of time, and he didn't pull the trigger. And that's what I'm talking about, letting it rip. When it's one-on-one, just let you get. That's what every quarter. The gunslingers, we love gunslingers. What do? They throw it up for grabs. Not for grabs like a Hail Mary. You got to put it educated, right? You got to put it in the right spot so only your guy can make the grab. But he's got to let it loose. But look, it's not just him. It's the whole thing. It's getting off press, right? It's getting into your route. It's getting to the spot, line, giving your guy a chance. The coordinator, the play caller, mixing it up so you got them on their heels. By the way, if I got to see shotgun at 3rd and 2 again, I'm going to lose my mind. And if Walker and company can't push guys, and don't get me wrong, it's hard to push Justin Simmons out of the way. But if you can't get any movement at all, a yard, sit his ass out. Sit him out. And if Fortner can't, look, he's been struggling in pass coverage, man. He's getting bowled over. He's not very good against the bull rush. He gets pushed back a lot. That just screws everything up. So, look, if they're not getting it done, and it's too early, I'm not ready to bail on Walker at left guard. That was a bad outing. He didn't look good. Let's see what he does against Tennessee. Let's see what they all do against Tennessee. But if it ain't happening, you're going to have to make some moves. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's Ezra. Maybe Cooper Hodges comes back. I don't really know yet. But that interior 3, we have to play better. And Scherf's played good, but he hasn't played as good as he needs to either.
It's been the worst part of the team all year, in my opinion. And look, we've already talked about this episode. The talk that if you can take away the Jags' first read, then you're onto something. And we've talked about that with the pressure. It has been pressure from the interior. And that's why a lot of those like PFFs and Next Gen and those advanced stats and analytics have backed up what these guys have been saying about Trevor struggling with the first read. Because what happens if I have pressure from the interior? Right. I have to scramble to one side or the other.
Slide.
Right? If I get pressure, you don't want pressure at all, obviously. But if I get pressure from the outside, there's still a chance that I can step up into the pocket and keep making reads.
Right.
But if it's from the middle, there is no pocket anymore.
No.
I got to pick a side, and all of a sudden, what if I have to scramble to the right and my second read's on the left side of the field? I just had to cut the field in half. I can't make my reads anymore.
Right.
So
that's where he takes off.
That's where he should take off. Yes, I agree.
He's got to do more. He's such a weapon.
I agree.
I think they're going to figure it out. I'll tell you my score in a bit, but I feel like this is going to be a nice game for them. I think you got to get Ingram more involved. I do want to see Dearness Johnson a little bit. I do want to see Dale, who listens to the show all the time, made a good point. He's like, they don't ever run slants. They don't. Those are timing, man. You put it in the right spot. I mean, you get the ball, boom, he makes a move. There's always that opening where the backer's clearing out, and then the guy. It is. I mean, there's always that if you can get to that.
And by the way, a slant route is maybe like an underthrown deep ball is probably number 1, but a slant ball might be number 2 in terms of routes that are most likely to get pass interference calls in the defense.
Yeah. Speaking of which, and I know I'm a defensive guy, but I think I don't know what you call, but this whole when the ball's underthrown and I'm running and I run into him, you know what I mean? Is that really PI?
No.
Like, I don't know. I hate that call. And all the teams do it because they know they'll get it. But I don't like that as a defender. I'm like, come on, man. I'm guarding my guy. I'm going down the field. They throw it short. He stops. I can't stop in time, and I run into him. I just don't like. I don't know if it's a non-call or maybe call it something different.
You just call it illegal contact, and it's 5 yards.
Maybe, yeah. That's a nice call, man. Grammage has always got the knowledge, man. Got the knowledge. No, but right. That could be like the inadvertent head-to-head shots like that. Illegal contact. I can live with that. It's only 5 yards. But to call it PI and first...
A PI spot foul
Yeah.
when you throw it 50 yards down the field, that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I've always thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree.
But back to the slant.
Yep.
Dude, how often do you see on a slant route the corner is trying to make a play,
Right.
and all it takes is that little tug of an arm or a little
arm around the waist,
or a little like if you're trying to make a play and your weight hits their back, that PI call is going to happen.
Yeah.
And you're again, it's similar to what we've said about the DBs have to be scared that you're going to go deep.
Correct.
If they're scared you're going to go deep, that slant route's going to be there is the first thing. And secondly, it's the same exact idea with running that slant. Maybe they get a PI call. If not, there's a good chance you're going to just complete the pass.
Right.
You're bailing corners out if you don't do these things.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll just say, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, if Ridley truly is having trouble on the press, that screws up every route.
Yeah, of course.
It'll screw up the slant. But that slant, I was really pleasantly surprised when that pass happened and he caught it under contention. The guy was right on him, tackled him right away. But you're right, because if you got that, if my DB's got to think about that and I do a fake and just keep going up, guess what? And he's thinking slant. Right now you're thinking, man, if I can press him, he's not going to really get off the ball that much. And I know he's fast, but if I pin him for a split second, maybe we can keep up with, you know what I mean? So hopefully that gets better, but it does have to get better. There's no doubt about that. They've got some – it's the NFL. On paper, we're a 7-point favorite on the odds. Take it for what it's worth. So the people that watch the game from that standpoint, they feel we're going to beat them. I think we're going to beat them. I think this is going to be a redemption song to the great Bob Marley, of course. I think it's going to be a turnaround, smack them in the mouth, show them what we're all about. But let's go through the stats if we can. Sponsored by Team Tommy Mac, of course. Chris Lucero's Bail Bonds, Truck Accident Law Firm, J-Dog Junk Removal, Azar Sausage, Carpet Man Flooring, Graffiti Burger Bar, and brand new, the Outback Marine Construction Team. Hey, man, locally owned and operated. They do a fantastic job every single time. Let's get into the stats. I tell you, I'm going to start off with a stat that's probably going to surprise you, Grammage. One of the things I'm concerned about is our coverage units aren't very good right now. They are giving up an average. Did you know this? I just noticed this today. Average kickoff return, 31.3. That's not good. Average punt return, 9.9. Almost 10 yards of punt return. Now, granted, we've had touchdowns, we've had long, you know what I mean? But still, I don't know who their return guy is, but you better not let him take over this game in any shape or form. You got to cover better, man. Hey, special teams is very important. It's not just kicking, not just making field goals. My coverage units have got to be some of the top in the league if we want to do something as a team.
And they were last year.
What's that? They were phenomenal. I agree.
What
number one, weren't they, or number two, something like that?
What happened to Chris Claybrooks?
Well, he got
I know he got in trouble, but did they just cut him? Or I don't remember hearing of him.
Seen him out there at all. Good call.
But he was always fantastic as a gunner.
He got in some trouble, though.
No, I definitely remember him getting in trouble, but I don't remember if they actually cut him.
Yeah, I don't know either. We should look that up and see where he's about. But let's go through the stats. I mentioned the 19 fumbles by our offense. That's absolutely terrible. But let's do the stats that we normally do. Points, yards per carry, yards per attempt, plus completion percentage, third down conversion, fourth down conversion, sacks, interceptions, and turnover ratio. By the way, I added forced fumbles. I thought, we should add that. That means you're knocking the ball out. All right, so let's start with Tennessee. Points, offensively, only 17 a game. Defense, they give up 20. Defense isn't bad. They're not bad. They shut down the run for the most part, at least on an average per carry basis. We're at 21.8 on offense and 21.1 on defense. Pretty close. And they're 3-6 and we're 6-3, and the points scored and points allowed are pretty darn close. Go figure. Yards per carry, we'll start with them. They're at a team at 4.3, but you know what? Henry's at 4.2, and Spears, who's had plenty of carries, is at 5.3. We got to take care of the run. Their O-line is not that good, but it appears they're running the ball okay. So we got to make sure we take care of that. Look, our defense only gives up 3.8 per carry. Great. They only give up on defense 3.9. So this is not like, this is going to be a tough day to just pound the rock. If you think you're just going to line up and pound the rock, it ain't going to happen. You got to loosen them up. I don't care how you do it. You got to loosen them up with the pass game, and then that should open things up.
We had, in terms of yards per carry and everything, we had a substantially better rushing attack last year.
Yeah.
In both games against the Titans, we couldn't run whatsoever.
Yeah. But Ingram had a big game last time out. I think he had 2 touchdowns.
Oh, huge game. I'm just talking about the running game specifically.
I know, we need him to counteract that somehow. I want to see Johnson too, man. I'm telling you, give that guy some chances, and I think he'll do okay. Now, they do give up 110 yards per game. I don't always get carried into that. To me, it's always about the yards per carry. Because, what if I do it at 110, but I'm doing it at 3 yards a clip. Who cares? It doesn't matter. I'm getting off the field. All right, yards per attempt. We'll just use Levis since he's playing 6.5 yards per attempt at 56% completion percentage. He's a rook. You got to get to him. You got to get to him. Their defense, how about this? Yards per attempt, 7.8 at 68%. Their pass coverage is not good. Their back four, they struggle. We got to take advantage of that. We're at 7.1 yards per attempt with Trevor at 67.3% completion. Our defense, 6.9, needs a little bit better at 64%. That's pretty okay. So pretty comparable. They're better in the run game, and we're better in the pass game, and we score a little bit more points than them. Third down conversion. Offense, better last time out. Actually, no, they were not better last time out. They were 4 of 12. Both teams 4 of 12. Isn't it wild how they scored that many points, yet our defense held them to 4 of 12 on third down last week against San Fran? Pretty wild. All right, so we're at 35.29 on offense. We're at 34.15 on defense. That's phenomenal still for third down. They're at 33.3, so they're no better on third down on offense. We should get off the field and give our guys a chance to score, and their defense is about 41% on third down. So maybe there's some rubber meeting the road there, if you know what I mean. Fourth down, let's see. They're 5 of 10 on offense, 5 of 8 on defense. We're 4 of 12 on offense and 11 of 24 on defense. That's 50%, just under 50%. That's not good. I didn't know 24 attempts on our defense on fourth down. Would you have thought that already? Like this point in the year? 24. They have 8.
That is, yeah. Yeah, that is pretty high. I just find it
interesting. Whatever they go. Hey, going out for it on fourth down is part of the gig these days.
Now, I will say, I do think the third down percentage versus fourth down should probably be treated marginally differently, just because of the fact that third down percentages are going to be impacted on a lot more third and longs, right? Versus on fourth downs, it's very rare a team goes for it if it's not fourth and short.
Yeah, 4th and 2, maybe 4th and 3, maybe 4th and 4, depending on the point of the game. But
right.
Apart from that, no, I agree with you.
Versus there's a lot of, with third down percentage, there's probably a lot of third and 9s mixed in, third and 10s.
You're going for it on third down anyway.
Right. But you are right that it is. Do you think it has to do with the Jags have had a good lead in a lot of games where teams have been in 4-down territory just for a longer portion of the game? Because if you're up, you're much less likely to punt or to go for it. On fourth.
Our offense on fourth down has only gone for it 12 times. Which Doug last year seemed like he always went for it.
Well, yeah,
He's been a little conservative of that. But my point is maybe it's who we're playing. Because some coaches are like, I'm going for it on fourth down. If it's 4th and short, I'm going for it. I'm not punting. I might kick a field goal, but I'm probably going to go for it.
I think the first thing probably is that you're more confident in McManus from a further range than you were with Patterson.
True.
So I think that's probably the first aspect where a little bit south of midfield, basically, you're cool with kicking it.
No, right.
Versus Patterson, you probably want to go for it more in that situation. Yeah. And then again, like we said, I know this past week was obviously not indicative of this, but outside of the Niners game, the Jags have had leads for a lot of this season.
No, I know.
So they've not been as much in a position where they need to force the issue and go for it, and the teams that have been playing are.
The 2 teams that beat us both got leads. Houston went up 17-0. It was only 13-3, but then the 20-3, then the 27-3. Forget about it. It's over.
The Chiefs were beating us pretty much all day as well when they were up.
Yeah, they were.
It was never by a lot. No. It was normally only about 7.
Yeah.
But they were pretty much always winning.
Could have been different. And,
100%.
But that's every game, I guess you could say. All right, let's finish up the sacks. This is interesting. Our offensive line has given up 24 sacks. Last year, I think we gave up 27 total. So that's a lot for this point of the year. Their defense has 24 sacks. How about that? O-line, D-line, both 24 sacks. The rubber meeting the road there somewhere. Now, on their offense, they've given up 33 sacks. 33, that's a lot. And we've given up.
We think our number's bad, and they have almost 10 more.
What's that?
We think our number's bad, and they have almost 10 more.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And by the way,
sack a game, basically.
I suspect, too, and this was the case last week and the week before. Now, the week before, they played the Steelers, who have probably the best D-line in football.
Right.
Except maybe the Niners, actually. But
Niners, I think, got it. I know.
But this past week, when the Titans played the Bucks, this reared its head a little bit. One thing, and they had to go with Levis and give him a shot because he's the younger guy, and you got to see what you got. But Tannehill is decently mobile.
Yeah.
Levis is not as mobile as Tannehill.
Yeah, true.
So their offensive line struggles, I think, are highlighted even more by a less mobile QB.
Could be. Could be. Or just doesn't know how to get rid of the ball, doesn't know how to, there are moments. Hey, rookies, it's different at first year, right? They don't see a lot of things coming until it's too late.
And I think
it happen Sunday.
I also think Levis is pretty similar to a lot of young QBs that get drafted high, because why is it in today's world? Why is a QB getting drafted high more than probably anything? It's because they got a gigantic arm.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. He gets
coaches drool over big arms.
Right.
This is why C.J. Stroud is so impressive, because he seems to have the intermediate throws.
Yeah. He's got a good arm, though, too.
I think with Levis, if there's not a deep shot to be had, he starts to struggle a bit.
He wants to go to D-Hop. Take away D-Hop.
And he wants to go to D-Hop 40 yards down the field.
I know.
And he's got a phenomenal deep ball.
Yeah,
he throws one of the most beautiful deep balls in the game already.
Yeah.
And that's why he got drafted in the second round for a reason.
I'm a big fan of big arms, man. I am. I always have been. You got to start with that at least.
But I think you talk about, man, if that's kind of your only, it's sort of the opposite of what's happening here. Here it kind of seems like the short first read stuff everyone is kind of our one-trick pony right now. With Levis, it's like he wants to throw it deep or there's not much else there.
Right. He's a gunslinger type,
mm-hmm.
which doesn't always work.
That leads me to believe that Cisco and Jenkins could get their hands on a couple of balls.
Yeah, we should. Let's see on interceptions. They've thrown 8. I don't think Levis has thrown 8, but total. We've thrown 6. They only have 3 interceptions on defense. We have 11, but we haven't had any in a couple games, right? So need that turnover ratio. +1 for them, -3. No, +1 for us, -3. For them. Brought to you by Team Tommy Mac. Love the team. Absolutely. So, look, stats don't always tell the stories we know, right? That they do tell some of the story. It's kind of like your record. You are where you are. You either stop the run or you don't. Either get off the field on third down or you don't. Either extend drives or you don't. Either score a bunch of points or you don't. You stop the other team not scoring or you don't. You know what I mean? It's just part of the, the games. I don't always get into – it's funny. You'll see, like, I see people put on Twitter like, oh, well, PFF says so-and-so had a really high – and you're like, I watched that game. He got his ass kicked all game. There's no way that stat, if I turn on the tape, would match. There's just no way.
That's been the case. He's had although he's kind of slowed down a little bit the last few weeks, I think. That's been the case with Josh Allen for years.
Yeah, right.
You'd watch the game, you would forget he's even on the team because you wouldn't hear anything from him.
Right.
And then that week, PFF would have him third in pass rush win rate.
Pressure or whatever crap.
And it's like, bro, I watched the football game. Yeah. I watched every snap, and I forgot he was on the field.
Yeah, when you don't hear his name, he's not doing anything is what that means.
Did you forget Nick Bosa was on the field on Sunday? Hell no, you didn't.
I will say, and look, I'm not. I've got no qualms with Balky or Doug or anything, but for all the other teams that let Chase Young go to San Fran, how do they get Chase? And I look, his rookie year was really, really good. Then he got hurt. He struggled a little bit. This year he's back, and with him and are you talking about bookends? Are you kidding me? It's like Freeney and Mathis. You know what I mean? It's like having those bookends that it was like Josh Allen and Ngakoue, Josh's first year. You need that other side. So
man, if
they have that happen, but. And then they got Hargrave, Hargrave's a really good defensive tackle. Eric Armstead, really good defensive tackle.
Fred Warner's the best linebacker probably in the league.
Linebackers are insane.
And
insane.
This does not excuse the way the Jags played Sunday and getting their ass kicked. But if the Niners, you're not going to stay fully healthy in an FLC. That doesn't happen.
Right.
But if the Niners, it seems like all their stars right now are back and healthy. If all their top guys are healthy, would you take anyone over them to win the Super Bowl?
Maybe Philly.
I
want to see Philly.
That might be it.
Head to head before I.
And then you might say the Chiefs just because Patrick Mahomes exists, even though they're not playing well.
Hey, let's not forget there's a crack in the armor in San Fran. They went on a 3-game skid. I know they didn't have all their guys, but Purdy didn't play well. I mean, you can't just say, look, Trent Williams, he's phenomenal, but does that mean he makes the whole offensive line, perform at a humongous? You know what I'm saying? Like Debo's great, I get it, but they still had Ayuk. They still had other weapons. Purdy struggled big time. So there's some cracks in that armor. I'd like to see them go head to head with Philly and see who's got it.
That's what I was going to say. Is I think their main crack is their depth.
Yeah.
If some of their star guys do go down, we saw in that 3-game skid that they can really struggle. Yeah. If you don't have Debo and McCaffrey and Ayuk and Kittle, all of a sudden Purdy's not the same guy. He didn't play with the same confidence.
Yeah. And I will say, if you get if you get after the QB, you have a chance of rattling him. You've seen Brady get rattled. You've seen Mahomes get rattled. I mean, you see Josh Allen up in Buffalo get rattled. He's a mess right now. I mean, that guy believes too much in his arm, and I love his arm. I like them just going for it, but man, he's got to hone that in. So it happens. So I'm not. Look, I do think here's my score. It's I said on the air 33-17. I just feel like they're just gonna. Because like last year with Detroit, you thought that was the end of the world, and it ended up not being it. I don't think it's the end of the world. I tell you, the thing that just upset me the most, and I'm over it now for the most part, especially now that I've been able to vent enough today as well, is that we were considered a contender. So are they. We got our ass beat. That bothers me. Because at the end of the day, it's about getting to the playoffs and getting to the Super Bowl and maybe winning the Super Bowl. And all I've heard, and from myself too, this is a contender, and I still think they are, but they got to redeem themselves to get back to that contender status, in my opinion. And if you don't beat Tennessee, I don't think you're going to beat Houston. I know it's a week-to-week thing. You never know in this game, but I'm telling you right now, the psyche will be all a mess. It'll things will screw up in the universe. It's just not going to be good.
Tennessee will beat you twice, is what you're saying, basically.
And then Tennessee could beat you, right? No, I'm
saying if you lose this game on Sunday, they'll be so screwed up mentally that they will be ill prepared the following Sunday, and Tennessee could beat them twice
down the road.
But because
I'm saying if they don't beat Tennessee, they're not going to beat Houston.
Right.
I don't think. That's my opinion. Now, like I said, week to week, you never know. But coming off this terrible loss, if you don't redeem yourself, because they feel it too. Listen, they're sitting there going, man, are we contenders or not? I thought we were contenders, right? And they don't got to stick up their ass thinking like, oh, look, we're still great, blah, blah, blah. No, they're humbled. And I'm glad they're humbled. They should be humbled. But that's why you got to go out there and redeem yourself this weekend. And I think they'll do it, 33-17. You got a score?
I'll say 31- 14.
Yeah, so I'm going to say, they're going to get to 30. You call me crazy because they haven't shown that they're going to. You know what I mean? But I got a gut feeling that they're sick. They're all week. They've been hammered, and they deserve it. You deserve it.
Again.
But you're going to sit there and be like, you know what? Screw all them. I'm going to show them. That's the attitude you got to have.
Again, you need to go. You need to kick their ass. You need to kick their ass.
Start fast. Be physical right from the get-go. None of this not physicality. And let's go take care of the Titans. All right, that'll do it for us this time around. We'll be back on Tuesday. I'll say happy Thanksgiving then to you. Absolutely. Looking forward to the holiday. If you're traveling, safe travels. If you're going to the game and you see me, say hello. I'd love to say hi to you. If you got nothing to do tonight and you like rock and roll, 70s, 80s, and 90s, come out to Iggy's patio. It's Iggy's Bar and Grill right there at where Racetrack Road meets Route 13 or San Jose Boulevard, just south of 295. Come check it out. It'll be a rocket show. We always have a good time. I'm sure I'll be sweating my ass off with changing T-shirts every set, but that's okay. That's what I do. I want to thank Team Tommy Mac. I want to thank everybody at the Horse's Mouth. I want to thank everybody at the Happy Hour Show as well. Y'all be cool out there and stay safe. We'll see you next time right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Peace.